So, welcome to the second half of this. I want to just spend a minute talking about storytelling because you all have stories to tell. And for those of you that I know you can do it and do it well because I've heard your stories. So this is a great opportunity to explore maybe how to do something a little bit more creative. Storytelling, whether fact or fiction, is an intrinsic human characteristic. Stories have likely been told since the beginning of man, certainly since caveman times. All cultures have told stories. Some of the earliest evidence of stories comes from the cave drawings in Lascaux and Chavaux, France. The drawings, which date as far back as 30,000 years ago, and Steve can correct me if I'm wrong about that, because he's our historian.
40,000.
40,000 years ago, depict animals, humans, and other objects. Some of them appear to represent visual stories. Stories have been told through drawing, sculpture, fiber arts, oral tradition, writing, photography, and other media. Storytelling bands people together. It connects data to experience. It makes sense of the confusing and the uncertain. It attempts to answer the big questions. It is understood by all. It touches our humanity. So, everybody is a storyteller. It's in our DNA. Traditional storytelling by word of mouth still takes place whenever a group of people gather together to socialize. How many people told stories to someone today already? Anybody? Raise your hands. All right, not bad. There is power and meaning in everyone's story. So I just want to give you a few questions to think about, and then I will introduce your instructor artists or your artist instructors. Here are some questions to think about. What makes a good story? What are the ingredients? How do you approach developing a story? What tools do you have available? And I know you all have tools, so that's not an excuse. What is your central message? What should you include? Who is your audience? How do you find the proper scope? And how do you develop a clear structure? So that's just a little food for thought.
If you could send us those.
Yes, we can do that. We can put them up on the website or email them to you. Happy to do that. So the first person I would like to introduce, and we're doing this in alphabetical order, is Nan Carle Beauregard. Nan, do you want to just stand up so people can see you?
Yes, I'm 5 feet tall, but I think you can most people stand up. I don't think I have to stand on a chair.
Yeah. And I am thrilled because, as I mentioned earlier, I have been involved with iPhone photography with Nan since the beginning of the pandemic. And she's become a wonderful mentor and a wonderful friend. She grew up in a house with a dedicated darkroom. She quickly learned to have great respect for the camera and for the person's eye and the lens. She has evolved from film cameras to digital cameras, and now she singularly uses an iPhone camera as the one that is always with her. Nan specializes in travel photography, landscape photography, and editing for impact. She has a particular interest in project photography with an emphasis on researching the context of the subject and getting to know the people involved. This leads to exhibitions and photo books that track her photographic journey. She has shown her work in several galleries, in town halls, and at the Vermont Granite Museum. Nan has a PhD in special education and has taught iPhone photography to people of all educational backgrounds. She is keen to capture images and possibilities with all her students, whatever their interests. Her joy of teaching is clearly on show in the many classes that she has offered online, wherever the student is, and in person in northern Vermont. She stays current by taking regular classes with iPhone Photography School and has also studied with iPhone experts at National Geographic, Maine Media, and the Santa Fe photography workshops. She retains a personal photographic mentor in New York City. So that's your photography artist instructor. Our second artist instructor is Jude Prashaw. She's also the mother of pickleball. And I met Jude actually through pickleball, but I had seen her work both here at River Arts and in other places in the county, and thought she'd be a terrific addition to the team. Jude has served as artist in residence at the Carilion Clinic in Roanoke, Virginia, as artistic program director, head injury clinic art consultant, as an ELL specialist, and as a total action against poverty artist. She has been an arts workshop facilitator, a clay artist instructor here at River Arts, and she's currently facilitating a clay workshop at Forest Hill Residential Care Home in Hyde Park. She has a BA in studio art from Holland and is an English language learner specialist in K-12 education, as well as a certified dementia specialist in creative arts. In her artist statement, Jude says, "I tried to contain myself, but I escaped. My life, my art, exploring possibilities through paper, clay, metal, paint, and canvas. I talk to myself out loud. My art reflects an ongoing conversation with poetry, stories, dreams, images, tragedy, loss, laughter, and I would add myself personally, this is Whitney speaking, humor. She is one of the funniest people I know. Sketchbooks overflow with images until a story emerges to march right off the page into a new piece. Masks, boats, sculptures, and paintings become icon-like responses to questions I've asked for a long time. How do we journey within our world? What helps us stay afloat? Where do we find mercy? When did we become so serious? The urge to create is akin to the urge to breathe, vital to my artistic life." Nice. And our third artist instructor is someone I've known since she's probably been about 10 years old, and that's Melanie Viets, who grew up in Hyde Park. Mel is a writer, editor, and Mel, do you want to just stand up so people can see you? Thanks. Mel is a writer, editor, and shepherd who grew up in Hyde Park and now lives in East Calais, Vermont. Her essays, stories, profiles, and reviews have appeared in Narrative, Big Sky Journal, Whitefish Review, The Clearing, and About Place Journal, among other publications. Mel received a Bachelor of Arts degree from UVM in Political Science and Environmental Studies, and an MA from Goddard College. A graduate of the Stone Coast MFA program, Mel teaches community writing courses and provides editing and manuscript review services. She also serves as an editor at The Learned Pig, a UK-based environmental magazine. She lives with her family on Lanskin Farm in Vermont. Here is a brief excerpt of Mel's essay, Landskin, which appeared in the Narrative. "First time I butchered an animal bigger than a chicken, my children knelt by my feet on the grass and read aloud from John Seymour's The Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It. Gesturing with a knife, I asked the kids to show me the diagrams again after each slice. They were in earnest 8 and 10 and held the book up for me to study. I was a vegetarian for many years before we began raising animals, so I wasn't sure what cuts I was aiming for. The lamb's name was Alistair. This rough hillside farm is no place for preciosity. I came to the farm through death. Loss runs through the seasons in stride with the birth and growth of a lamb, and in the sustenance of his body, and the sustenance his body then provides. What comes into a life through the land? How does an ethic of place take root? on precarious ground. Those are the first two paragraphs from her essay. And just a word of the day, I did not know what Lansky meant, so I asked Mel. It means the weaving and braiding of horizon lines, often seen most clearly on hazy days in hill country. So I'm going to let these ladies have this.
Having a speaker is that we can't walk around. So that's what I usually do. I have a hard time standing still, but I'll try to do that a little bit. So with the visual storytelling, with the photography storytelling, that really excites me because of the power of the image to deepen our understanding of ourselves or our communities or of events. It helps to take a focus of an image and really deepen our memories, and that's the thing that I most like. I brought a couple of pictures, but they're quite small for this big of a room.
You can walk around.
Yeah, the one over on the table.
And can you talk more into the mic?
I can, or louder. And I can try to do that too.
Yeah.
So this particular photograph was a photograph I took in London just before the pandemic. And it has all kinds, for me, of really deep memories. It was taken on the bridge at Westminster, Westminster Bridge. And I still work in that area. So I was walking to work, I took a picture in the morning, I took a picture in the evening. And this is the picture in the evening. So what this has to me in terms of characters, it has a couple walking across the bridge, and the woman has a red coat on. And I always try to focus on anybody who's wearing red. So Eleanor, I'm glad you've got a red jacket on today. It makes me absolutely make sure I'll remember you. So it has the Big Ben, it has the clock, it has the dark sky, so it's nighttime. I called this one date night because it was a Friday night when I took this picture. But it could be anything. It could be me in the picture. It's certainly not somebody that I knew, but I took the picture. So the point I'm making is that this picture hangs in my room, and it just always makes me fantasize about myself and other people. So it means something to me. It's a focus for deepening my memories of my time in London and my time here, which is completely different. So date night on Friday nights usually ends at about 8 o'clock now. And that one was taken at 8 o'clock. And that was taken in 2019. So again, I just show you this as a way of thinking about a photograph and how it can have power in your thoughts and your memories and what you want to share with other people. One of the questions people had was, do we have to share with others? And of course you don't have to. There's no must-dos in this. There's no right or wrong in this. It's really about, as Whiffy said, everyone has a story to tell, and everybody's story is our story. And it's the our story that really interests me. People all in this room have had so many different experiences in their lifetime that impact us in many different ways, and I would like to hear that. But you don't have to share. This is for you. So in terms of where you start, one of my messages would be is we have a month together to really dig deep in a way. So what is it that you'd most like to spend your time focusing on? Where would you like your mind, your hands, your heart to go for this month of February? What's going to speak to you during this time? Is there a legacy that you want to make sure other people know about of yourself? Is there something that's happened that you want to reimagine in a different way? So do you want to take an old photograph and reimagine it now? All kinds of things that we can start, but how do you want to spend this month? What do you want to dig deeper into your own self and share with yourself and to share with others. That would be my main message in terms of where we start. And can you be offensive? Of course you can be offensive. You know, there are no rules here. Again, it's how you want to spend your time and how you want your heart and your soul to grow. And images give us the power to do that. So I'm excited to work with you. Everybody's got a story to tell, and I can't wait to hear it. And see it.
Okay, kids. Watching this? Okay, what are a few words that describe what I just did?
Dancing.
Okay?
Running.
Running.
Rolling.
Okay, what if I went this way?
Suspicious.
Word.
You're just telling a story from a dance. We're following our ancestors. That's all they did. They didn't use words in the beginning. They used dance. We haven't used the word dance, I don't think, but they used dance. And then they drew on caves with mud and red ochre. And then they told the stories orally, all before the written word. So you just told a story by a little dance. So you're all writers, you're all storytellers. It's really simple. And the most beautiful thing that I heard that people saying, the heart of whatever class you've signed up for, it's curiosity. We cannot make a mistake. When I teach my clay classes, I often break a piece before it's ever been fired in the kiln. I break it to tell people it can be recycled. I can recycle the clay and water. So there's no mistakes. It's just if everyone brings curiosity, we all win. It's fabulous. Okay, what inspires us? That's where we get our material from, whether we're writing, photography, clay. What moves you? What moves each of us? Poetry moves me a lot, and I visualize poetry. My dreams, I've been recording my dreams since I was probably 17. Okay, so I want to show you this. I'm going to do a quick show, all right? And then I want you to tell me what this is. Okay? Quick. So sorry. Oh, real quick. Okay? Got it? Okay? What does this say to you?
She's had enough.
Okay, this is great. Okay, this is great. Did you see that? Okay. Okay, just words, phrases. What do you see?
Triumph.
She's had enough. Triumph.
Got away.
Got her way. Anything else?
Who's the dead man?
Who's the dead man? Very good. And how do you know he's a man? But who's a dead man? Very good. Okay. This will be going on. This is a dream I had. So dreams make their way into my poetry, into my writing, into my clay, into my painting. Anything can inspire you. This literally was, this man was chasing me in the dark for years and years and years. And finally, one day and one night in my dream, I stopped and I didn't know I had a cast iron frying pan in my hand. And I slugged him and knocked him cold. And he never showed up again. That inspires me. So look at your life. If you were teachers, a story of a student, anything can inspire us. This, okay, another example. So for my clay folks, and why is it that the clay participants seem to have a lot of fear and trepidation? I don't have horns under this beret.
I was wondering if your boyfriend had seen that sketch.
He's no longer my boyfriend. So it's making clay, it's drawing, it's painting, and it's telling a story. So that you don't have that long. So this, look at the artist on that plate. The artist is age 5. So it's my son when he was 5, he's now 24. Came home from
Break that one.
Pardon me?
Don't break that one.
Yeah.
Try to.
Then the archaeologist can try and decipher what that story is. So anything can be a story, especially if you're with clay, but anything, it could be, it doesn't have to be your whole life. It could be a vignette. So he came home with that drawing when he was 5, and I'm sure it was a Martin Luther King, I have a dream. I can't even remember what the plate actually says. I have a dream that all people can be saved. So I'm sure it was, you know, a curriculum, a class that they were doing, but I just loved it. And then he drew the drawing, which was separate from the phrase. So I put them together. So I just want you to know that these story, when you're telling a story, it can be intimidating to think, oh my God, it's this huge, long story. It can be a little vignette. And the last thing I want to show you is, again, in clay, just so people, if I can find it. Okay, this one. This one. Can everybody read that?
No.
Old Crow.
Old Crow.
Yes.
Anybody know what Old Crow is?
Whiskey.
Whiskey. This is, okay, this is a certain age group here. Happy hour. It's also Old Crow Medicine Band, which, okay. But this was a license plate that I rearranged from a guy, my 92-year-old uncle had the Old Crow license plate on his truck. And he couldn't have the L because somebody else had already taken that. So he put the 1. So this simple little plate tells me of my profound love for this crazy uncle who was very important in my life. So just so you know, if you've never worked in clay, that's great. It's great. It can be as simple as a license plate. It can be, I worked with a woman once who wanted to imprint her father's dog tags from Vietnam. Now that print, if you've ever seen, they're tiny, she had never met her father.
Wow.
Her mother was pregnant, and I said, yeah, we made clay boats. She brought it in. It gives me goosebumps to this day. It was really beautiful. So your stories can be tiny but profound. And all you have to bring is curiosity, which I think every table offers curiosity. And we're gonna have fun. That's it.
Thanks, Judy. Okay, now.
Door price.
Tell me it's not Alistair.
I did think of that, actually. It's not. This is Selin. Selin, his sister Tia is still with us.
No, hold on.
Can you take your mask off?
I actually am not going to take my mask off, and I hope that is acceptable. I will do my best to speak up. Is this any better?
Better.
Okay, I will do my best. And I am currently a caregiver. My father has moved in with my family, and so I'm, my conscience to that, my responsibility to that, unfortunately, trumps my comfort and lots of other people's comfort, so I just wear a mask when I'm in public. So this is Selin, and Selin loved to untie my shoes every time I went into the paddock. He was obsessed with coming over and And every time, if I had lace shoes, he would untie them. The horn is from Fergus. He was living when that horn was removed, and it was not actually painful, believe it or not. And in the bowl are some beans and corn, which I have grown on my farm. And one of the reasons I brought these is because I actually don't remember growing them because of where I spent last summer at Copley and at the Manor. And so every night, almost every night at my house, we sit down to a meal, which the majority of the food on the plate I grew, and I don't actually remember growing most of it because my mind was elsewhere and I wasn't writing down what I was doing during the day. And those are both things that are uncharacteristic for me. And so for me, I'll borrow the words of a writer named John Berger, who said, if I'm a storyteller, it's because I listen. And so storytelling for me and teaching for me is about paying attention and paying heed. And often these are the very small moments that connect us to ourselves, connect us to others, connect us to animals or plants or mountains or oceans, connect us to our religion, our spirituality, connect us to pickleball or clay or iPhones or whatever we're engaged with. And through those small encounters, through those small engagements, we're just in touch with the biggest part of life. We're in touch with the mysteries of life and the sorrow and the joy. And it's just a natural part of being a human being. And I think that it's just absolutely wonderful that so many people are here to explore this part of their humanity together with other people. It's one of our birthrights, I think, as people, is to tell stories and to connect to where we live or our families or our friends, or ourselves. And we're all walking around all the time with these stories inside us. They're just barely under our skin. Everywhere we go, we see people that are just full of stories, and we don't always take the time to hear them or listen to them. So how wonderful that we get to take a month plus and dedicate ourselves to doing just that. It's just wonderful. And writing is terrifying, okay? It's like, it can be terrifying. But it doesn't have to be, of course. But if you're feeling like, oh gosh, whether it's just a page or whether it's sharing your story, there's just not a lot between yourself and your story when you're writing. There isn't something else to, I won't say hide behind, but to express through. We're going to work some with looking together at published writing, maybe writing that you haven't come across before. There's just a lot of exciting things happening in the writing world right now. And so we'll read some together. We're going to do a lot of writing in class. And we're going to share as you wish. And everything will be optional. There will be some prodding, but it will be optional to share. You're going to write more than one story, but you're also going to be welcome to focus on one story for the month. And how we share is something that we'll figure out together as we go along. I mean, share with a larger group, or share with family, or share with friends, or share with the community. We'll figure that out as we go, because that will look differently for each of you. I'm just going to look at my little cheat sheet here. Excuse me. Yeah, I also wanted to say that, as was said by the other teachers, we're so lucky to all be working together. Everyone here has decades of experience, decades of tool building. It doesn't matter what you did for your work or what kind of relations you've had or what you like to do or how your life has gone, that you have decades of experience. There's no lack of material. And so we're all coming, and there's no lack of voice, right? Because we all have personalities and tendencies and habits, and like I would never dance coming up here, ever. That's not
I've never done that
And I was so glad that I was sitting next to someone who would. So this is, I'm really looking forward to working with people and having it be a comfortable and yet flexible space where people can try things they haven't dared to try before, or pick up something that feels stale and figure out how to make it fresh. So I'll look forward to meeting the writing group just after this, I believe. Thank you.